Welcome, everybody, to the Beginner's Guide to QuickBooks Online. This is the kickoff to the Great QBO Refresh, our new series of trainings based on the brand new QuickBooks Online interface. So I'm really excited to get started. This particular class is designed for people who don't have a lot of experience with QuickBooks Online. Maybe you are on desktop and thinking about going to online. Maybe you have a brand new business and you haven't been doing any record keeping at all. Or maybe you're old school and you've been doing it through spreadsheets and Word documents and it's time to modernize. In any case, this class is for you to see what QuickBooks Online is all about. So let's go ahead and get started. This webinar is live over Zoom and streaming on YouTube and available as a recording. And so if you are watching this live, you are welcome to ask questions. If you're in the Zoom with us, use the Q&A pane, although you're welcome to chit-chat amongst yourselves in the webinar chat. If you are watching this on YouTube, please ask your questions in the comments and I'll answer them after the fact. If you are watching this through our platform, the Royal Wise Owls, there is a button on the upper right-hand side for the class forums, and you can ask your questions in there, and I will answer them right afterwards. Everybody who is taking this through either our Zoom today or through the Royal Wise Owls can get CPE for participating. All you have to do are answer our polls. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can also come and take the class and get your CPE credit as well. And you can click the link down in the description. At the end, we do have door prizes, so stay until the very end, and some of you will get some cool swag. All right. Now, because today is an introductory class, I'm going to be referring to other things that are outside the scope of what we can talk about in an hour. And so I have over 50 different classes just on QuickBooks Online and all the different features. So every time I talk about something today that is part of a bigger topic, you'll see a little roadmap with the name of the class. And so make note of those topics that you're particularly interested in. And then that tells you what class to enroll in next. There are notes for today. If you are taking it through the Royal Wise Owls, you can go into your dashboard and look on either the Enrolled tab or the Completed tab, depending on whether you finished or not. And then you'll be able to rewatch all of the videos and take all of the quizzes to get your CPE credit. So a little bit about me. My name is Alicia Katz-Pollock, and I'll be your tour guide. I am the founder of the Royal Wise Owls at learn.royalwise.com, and OWLS is actually an acronym for the On-Demand Web-Based Learning Solutions, and it's a training portal for QuickBooks and for Apple products as well. I'm the host of the unofficial QuickBooks Accountants podcast that you can find on your favorite podcasting apps. I'm a subject matter expert with Intuit's Pro Advisor Academy, so I help proofread all of the certification tests and some of the trainings. I'm also a top 50 women in accounting from Ignition and a top 10 Pro Advisor from Insightful Accountant. And I have a master's in teaching, and instead of teaching 7th grade English, I get to teach QuickBooks, which I love doing. So first, I want you to tell me a little bit about you, and you can put this in the webinar chat if you're in the Zoom with me, or if you're watching it on YouTube, you can put it in the comments. Have you already been using QuickBooks Online before? Maybe did you try it in the past and then you went back to desktop and you're curious about trying it again? Are you interested in making the transition? Are you not interested in making the transition and wish you didn't have to? Let me know a little bit about your experiences, and then that way I can tailor the presentation today to you. What we are going to talk about today is QuickBooks Online versus QuickBooks Desktop. We'll take a look at some of the features that make QuickBooks Online unique. We'll show you some things that QuickBooks Online does that QuickBooks Desktop doesn't do. And if you are in the process of making that transition, we will show you how to make that transition successfully, both as a business owner and as a user. So we're also going to take a look at some of QuickBooks Online's benefits. We're going to talk about how to customize it to meet your needs. We'll talk about how it's multi-user and mobile, about all of the third-party apps, the ways of managing your workflows, and all of the reporting as well. So I want to stop for a minute and give a poll. I would actually like to know who is on this and watching today. I want to know how much experience you have with QuickBooks Online. Are you a beginner? Are you intermediate? Or are you a pro? And again, this class really is designed for beginners, but even seasoned pros are going to find some little nuggets that you might not have known were there, or some ways of explaining things to your clients to make it easier in your communications. So it looks like we have everybody has answered, and we have kind of a mix today. Most of the people are intermediate and therefore have some experience, but we have some beginners on the call and some pros as well. All right. So let's start with why I am a fangirl of QuickBooks Online. Why do I like it so much? So the first thing that I like is that it's fully customizable to your needs. Every single business is different, and every single one of my clients has a complete different puzzle that we are trying to solve for them. And I really like that you can turn on and off different features so that it has exactly the feature set that you need. And then if you need it to do some things that it doesn't do natively, there's ways of doing third-party integrations with other apps because it's cloud-based. And then that way you get a completely customized environment that suits your company absolutely perfectly. When you're first getting started with QuickBooks Online, one of the first things that you have to do is figure out what version you need. That there's actually, I've got 5 of them on the screen, but there's actually 7 altogether. So there's a lot. One of the ones that's not on the screen is called QuickBooks Ledger. And QuickBooks Ledger is only if you're doing like down and dirty categorization and you don't have AR, you don't have customers, and you're not tracking product sales. All you're doing is just you have some money coming in and you have some expenses you have to track. So QuickBooks Ledger is not on here because it's not robust enough for most small businesses. If that is all you need, then if you connect with your accountant, they can start that kind of subscription for you. It's not something that you can just buy on your own. For the rest of us, we have the first one is solopreneur. And solopreneur is also one that I don't really recommend that much. What it's good for are gig workers and hobbyists, people who have a W-2 job, like they are an employee of another company, but they have a little side hustle where they need to track, maybe it's a crafter, maybe it's a musician, maybe you're driving for Lyft or Uber or a delivery service, where you have some business and some business expenses you need to track, but most of your life is still personal. So that's what QuickBooks Solopreneur is for. Then the next 4 versions, Simple Start, Essentials, Plus, and Advanced, those are the main versions of QuickBooks Online. Simple Start is basically a checkbook. You're recording who your customer is and what money you got. You're recording your expenses. And so it has invoicing, so you can send somebody an invoice and they can pay it later. And it only has one user, so it's just for somebody who's very simple and basic. But you do get 2 accountant users, so you can have your CPA and your pro advisor or bookkeeper also helping you on the side. And then the next one up is Essentials. Essentials has also accounts payable and billing involved with it. And you can have 3 different users in addition to your 2 accountant users. So that's when you start getting into the multi-user. And what's nice is that they can log in through Chrome or any browser from anywhere on any computer. And it doesn't matter if they're in the office or not. And it doesn't matter if they're on a Mac or a PC. It becomes instantly multi-user. Plus is probably the most popular of all of the versions. Plus really gives you the power to slice and dice your numbers. It gives you the ability to turn on classes and locations, which are dimensions that you can use for your reporting. Like maybe you have multiple revenue streams. For example, here at RoyalWise, we have these classes. We have our personal coaching. We have our setups and troubleshooting consulting work that we do. We have our publishing arm. We sell Apple equipment, so there's and QuickBooks subscriptions. So those are all different revenue streams. So we use a feature called classes that allow us to split up those, and we can do our reporting based on all of those different revenue streams. Plus also gives you 5 users, so you and your staff can all log in independently, in addition to the 2 accountant user spots. And then there's Advanced. Advanced has much more complex customizable reporting, so you can actually put together your own reports with information from all different tables, and it has performance centers and dashboards. It allows you to do batch entry. It gives you more custom fields. It adds in charts to your reports, and up to 25 employees, all working all at the same time. And so it's better for construction in particular, and project-based companies do really well with Advanced. There's also one more advanced that I also don't have on the screen, and that is called Intuit Enterprise Suite. And that's for mid-market companies that are making, maybe $5 million in somewhere between $1 and $5 million in revenue. And it has more tools for construction, more tools for manufacturing, more dimensions for your reporting, and it's multi-entity. So if your company has, like maybe it's a holding company with different companies for different properties, all with their own individual LLC, you can manage them all under one roof. So those features are all in Intuit Enterprise Suite. So even though I'm showing the 5 main versions, there's Ledger, which is only created by accountant users as an import for quick and dirty write-up. And Solopreneur only has 1 accountant user, and then you get into the other versions. So basically, the upshot here is that it's really important to figure out which version you want when you begin. When you sign up, if you sign up yourself, you're going to pay the retail price, or maybe the QuickBooks website will give you half price for 3 months, and then it goes to regular price. But if you work with a bookkeeper and sign up through a bookkeeper or a pro advisor, they frequently can give you discounts. And so if you're a business owner working with this, the first thing you want to do is find a pro advisor. It could be us at RoyalWise. It could be somebody in your neighborhood. But talk to them first before you buy your QuickBooks, because they might be able to do better than the Intuit's retail pricing. All right. Now, one of the things that I hear a lot is, well, it's subscription based. I don't like paying subscriptions. I just want to pay one time and own it. But there is actual ROI, return on investment, in your subscriptions. So the first one is, if you're going over from desktop to online, actually all of desktop is now subscription based as well. Pretty much everything on the internet is subscription based. It's just how the model has come to work. And one of the benefits is that they're always updating your software all the time. So instead of having to buy software one time and then you wait 3 years and it's obsolete, and then you update and get the new version, with subscription based, you're getting the new features as they roll out. So your software is always being improved. Also, with QuickBooks Online, it has a lot of different automations. And so the time saved in QuickBooks Online versus desktop is really huge. The banking feeds, if the banking feed saves you even 1 hour a week, that's 4 hours of your time. And let's say you pay yourself $30 an hour, which I know is lower than a lot of you listening to this. But if that's that $30, that's $120. So if your subscription is less than $120, then you actually just saved yourself money. So that's one of the ways that you want to think about the pricing in QuickBooks Online. It's also really handy that your accountant can just log in anytime. Whereas with desktop software, you have to share it with them or put them on a VPN or do something in order to get them their copies. Or you export an accountant copy and then they make their changes and then you forget to import it and consolidate it back in again. So one of the beautiful things about being online is that your accountant can just log in anytime and do what they need to do and log out again once they're done. So it's super convenient. So Some more considerations comparing desktop to online. With QuickBooks Desktop, you have to have a user license for everybody who is using it. And right now they do bundle it by the number of users, but you're paying for each one of those users. Then you have to either maintain a server or you have to pay for a hosting service. With QuickBooks Online, anybody can just sit down, log in, everybody can work simultaneously, and you can give them permissions for what they can and can't do. So different people, this person can do accounts receivable but not accounts payable, and this person can do accounts payable but not accounts receivable. You can actually specify what levels of access that they have. Maybe you want them to be able to do the bank fee, but you don't want them to be able to see any company reports. That's possible to do. Another thing is that there is a QuickBooks mobile app as well. So you can get a QuickBooks Online right on your phone. And what that allows you to do is several things. If you have employees in the field doing field services, they can write up estimates and take payments right there using their phone. There's a tap to pay. The client can just tap their credit card right to the phone and take the payment. This reduces your paperwork because you can create estimates and invoices right while on site, email them to the client, get signatures for approvals, even right there on an iPad. And then you don't have to wait until the field service rep comes back into the office with their triplicate carbon copies and gives it to the back office in order to enter it into QuickBooks. It's already done for you in one step. Another feature of being mobile and cloud-based, especially with the mobile app, is that if you have a paper receipt, you can just take a picture of it with your phone, and that picture shows up inside your QuickBooks so that you can turn it into an expense or match it to the banking feed when the banking feed comes in. So that way, if you're constantly chasing down receipts from your staff and your employees, you don't have to do that anymore. If I am, if they're at a gas station, as soon as they fill up their tank, they can take a picture of the receipt and it's in QuickBooks automatically right there for you. So you just teach people that get a receipt, snap the receipt. Get the receipt, snap the receipt, and then you don't have to chase receipts anymore, which helps with your reimbursements and employee management. There's also the ability to, if you are taking payments, there's a Bluetooth reader, or like I mentioned, there's now the tap to pay right on the phone. So you can take payments no matter where you are. That's a substitute for Square or PayPal or Venmo. You can do it right inside your QuickBooks. And there's also the banking feed shows up in the mobile app. So if you're sitting there like at your kid's soccer practice, you can sit there and get work done right on side your phone. And the QBO app works with all of the different versions. So you just log into the app using your same username that you would use sitting down in front of the computer. And then that way, it doesn't matter what version you're on, anything from solopreneur all the way up to, I think, even Enterprise Suite, but definitely Plus or Advanced. Okay. All right, next up, the other benefit of working with QuickBooks Online versus desktop or some of the other ledgers out there is that it's not meant to be all things to all people. It is designed to be the general core of the general ledger. And if you need additional abilities, there's a whole universe of third-party apps out there. You can actually go to apps.com, and that is QuickBooks' apps universe. And so you can integrate with e-commerce, customer resource management, accounts payable, manufacturing, literally, and reporting, literally anything that you can think of, robust inventory. And then those apps, you can sometimes do the work in those apps and it imports into your QuickBooks Online, or you're working on your QuickBooks Online and then the information exports out to the app so that you can do more with that information. One of the benefits is if you have employees who you don't want to be users inside QuickBooks Online, they can do their work in the third-party app. For example, maybe it's a warehouse. And they decide to use SOS inventory. All of the employees can be in SOS inventory, putting in purchase orders and tracking inventory in and out. And then the end results of their work show up in the general ledger instead of managing all of that warehouse detail in QuickBooks itself, which it's not designed to do. So third-party apps are a normal part and an exciting part of the ecosystem. All right. QuickBooks Online has a lot of innovative features. It's kind of funny to me, though, now to do this section because I've been teaching this course now for years, and what was innovative years ago is normal now. So when I talk about some of these things being innovative, some of you are going to be like, yeah, that's not new, but it's still new compared to the alternatives in the way we used to do things. The first thing that I want to point out is that there's a really extensive bank transactions feed that imports all of the transactions that it sees at your bank account, checking accounts, savings accounts, credit cards. If you're used to desktop, it's way more robust than it was on desktop, where all you could do is put in the payee and the category. You can do classes, you can do splits, you can do auto matching, you can create rules that are really extensive and split it up into 10% goes to this category in this class, and really do intricate automatic data entry so that anything that's routine, you don't even have to touch. You can have it automatically categorize it and you still approve it, or you can even have it just automatically add itself straight to the ledger because it's always the same every single time. So you can have your utility bills go straight through. Anything that you don't need to keep an eye on and that you're okay about it being routine. But what the banking feed basically does is it shows you what cleared the bank today, and then you either match it to the existing work that you've been doing to verify and validate that it happened, that it matched the bank and everything's good. Or some companies actually use the banking feed to do their data entry and speed up their data entry. So there's no right or wrong way of doing it, different things for different needs. But the banking feed is the hallmark of QuickBooks Online, and I consider it kind of the main place to do most of your work. And I do have a full 3-hour class just on using the banking feed coming up soon. Another feature is the built-in merchant services called QBO payments, and there is a separate class for that as well. Basically, the merchant services is built right into your QuickBooks Online, and you can process credit cards or ACH bank transfers. When you send an invoice, it has a review and pay button that the client can pay and put in their credit card information or ACH information. And then it will automatically create the payment in your QuickBooks, put it in undeposited funds, and batch all of the day's payments together, and then match your banking feed. And you don't have to touch any of it. All you did was send the invoice, and the rest is completely automated. So it saves a whole lot of time. The rates are completely competitive with other processors out there. In fact, it's less than PayPal and Square, not even including the fact that you don't have to manage all of the fees and all of the individual transactions. It gives you the ability to automatically charge recurring clients. You can create an automatic sales receipt or an automated recurring payment that just every single month sends them an invoice, runs the payment, and you don't have to touch anything. So all of your monthly recurring invoices get automatically processed without you having to do anything at all. So it's really a huge time saver. I'm also going to recommend, if you are not already signed up for merchant services, make sure you do it through a pro advisor or your bookkeeper, because we can get you even lower rates than the built-in rates that you would pay if you connect yourself. So talk to your bookkeeper and let them push the buttons for you. Another feature in QuickBooks Online that's not in desktop is an entire job costing center. This is in QuickBooks Online Plus and QuickBooks Online Advanced, and also Intuit Enterprise Suite. What job costing means is, and projects means, is that you can have a bigger project with an estimate that you do progress invoicing and you invoice them in stages. So you can do an initial down payment and then a midway milestone and then the final payment at the end. And when you incur all of your expenses, you can assign them to the different customers and clients and projects so that you can actually see the profitability, not just how much did you make, but how much did you spend and how much was the profit for each one of these jobs. You can even pass on the expense to the customer for billing and then they can reimburse you for it. So the project center is really first class. It's a way of managing an entire project, both the income and the expense under one interface instead of having the income in the customer's area and the expenses in the expenses area. The project center brings it together based on what you're actually doing. So it's very, very robust. Another feature in QuickBooks Online is it has a built-in checking account. Now, not a lot of people use this checking account, but what it is it's a dedicated checking account inside your QuickBooks Online that allows you to create savings envelopes. And maybe you've heard of Profit First, which is a way of taking all of your income and saying, okay, this is for taxes, this is for the owner, for their profit. This is for investment in our technology. This is for our payroll. And so basically, you can use QuickBooks Checking as your checking account and then move the money into different envelopes or holding tanks so that you always have money for payroll and you always have money for sales tax and you have money for a new computer and you have some money set aside for the owner, for their owner draws. So the envelopes are beautiful because they silo off that money and they get 3% interest. So you can have a little savings account going. That 3% interest is better than I get at Bank of America. So I have a QuickBooks checking account and I try and put all my money into the envelopes in order to take advantage of that interest. I have a full class on it. It's actually kind of important to take that class because there are nuances to using it. Like if you move money out of the main checking account into an envelope, that money is not available for spending. It has to be at that main level in order to make it available. So you do have to know some of the tips and tricks when working with QuickBooks Checking. But as a place that I have all of my sales just go straight into it, it works really, really nicely. There is a mileage tracking feature in QuickBooks Online that can be used by company admin and primary admin users. And what it does is you turn it on in the QuickBooks app on your phone. And then every time you start going more than 10 miles an hour, it will start tracking the activity. And then you can classify it. Okay, this was business, this is personal, this is business, this is personal, and then actually see what your tax deduction is for your mileage. So it has all of those reports. So the mileage tracking can be handy. QuickBooks also has its own dedicated payroll. It has full service payroll with direct deposit, or you can print checks if you need to. It will even pay your taxes for you. And so you can turn on the payroll, and there's different levels of payroll. There's a core level, which is less expensive, but you have to do most of the manual work, up to the premium level, which now also includes QuickBooks Time for time tracking. And then your employees can use a workforce app on the phone, and then they can actually punch in and punch out of their time clocks on it. And it even QuickBooks Time even helps with the job costing, so you can assign the labor to the different jobs that people are doing and include those labor costs in your profitability reports. At the elite level, payroll will set it up for you and make sure that everything is right. And if you ever have any problems, they actually guarantee everything. And if you have any penalties, they'll pay the penalties for you. So there's an extra level of support and an extra level of peace of mind in the three different levels of payroll. And yes, of course, I have a 3-hour class just on using payroll. All right. So next up is receipt management. It makes it really easy to get all of your paper receipts and all of your digital receipts into QuickBooks Online, which allows you then to attach it to the actual expense that it's for. So that when you're looking at your reports and you drill into an expense, the attachment's right there and you can click on it and pop it right up and you have a picture of the receipt. So there's a lot of different ways that you can get the receipts in. You can email them in. You can drag and drop them in. You can say, hey, I have a Google folder and this is where they live. You can take pictures of the receipts with your phone. Whichever, so all different ways of getting the receipts in. And then that way you don't have to harass your employees to get them to put in the receipts. You just train them. Okay, you stopped and you filled the tank on the company car. Go ahead and take a picture of the receipt on your app. And then the receipt is right there and you don't have to chase them down. So if you're doing reimbursements or expense management, it makes it so much easier. So definitely check out the receipt management as well. All right, I want to go to, I don't have a Q&A slide in here, so let me go ahead and run a poll and ask some questions. Oh, it's not letting me, oh. Okay. Go ahead and let me know how my pace is. Am I going too slow, too fast, or just right? Okay, it looks like most people are saying I'm going just right. While you are taking that poll, I'm going to answer some questions. So we have some questions about the different levels. Is Solopreneur the same as Ledger? They are two different versions of QuickBooks Online. A Solopreneur does have an account user. I think it still has two account users, but don't quote me on that. Somebody's asking what the price is for Enterprise Suite. I didn't put a price on it because they don't tell you what the price is. You actually, for Enterprise Suite, have to have a meeting with their sales team and they find out exactly what features you need and then they put a price on it based on how much usage you're going to have. Michelle's asking, does the app work with QuickBooks Ledger? I believe that it does, except, oh, I would have to test that out because the QuickBooks mobile app has invoices and receipt and sales receipts, which Ledger doesn't have. So I haven't actually tried logging into a Ledger account to know that for sure how it works. Meryl's asking how many envelopes can somebody have with QuickBooks payments? Let me go back over to here to that slide. The I think it's 10 envelopes. You can have up to 10 different envelopes. Okay. And uh, we'll come back to that one later on. Okay. All right. Let me go ahead and close the poll. Everybody says that we are just right. All right, now what I want to do is take a look at some of the transactions and workflows. So what we're going to do right now is talk about the different ways of what it actually looks like when you are taking money from your customers and what does it look like when you are entering in expenses from your vendors. So we're actually going to go into QuickBooks Online in order to do some of these things. So the first thing that I want to do is talk about the different ways that you can bring in money from your customers. So the first one on the left is sales receipts and bank deposits. So a sales receipt is basically when all of your work is one and done. Somebody comes up to it's a coffee shop where somebody comes in and buys a cup of coffee and they're done. Or maybe you go on site and you provide a service for your client and they pay you right on the spot. In that case, all you need to do is a sales receipt. So you'll create sales receipts all the way through the day. And then at the end of the day, you'll group them all together and batch them and make a bank deposit. But sometimes your routines are a little bit more complex, where you start with an estimate and then they approve the estimate, and then you turn that estimate into one or more invoices. And then the customer can pay either pays an invoice or makes several payments against one invoice or pays off several invoices all with one payment. Doesn't matter. Anytime you have that one to many, you can make that happen. And then at the end of the day, you make your bank deposit. So let's actually do some hands-on work and see how that looks. So right now I am in a QuickBooks Online file, and it is this is a brand new. Welcome everybody. Whoa. To the beginner's guide to QuickBooks Online. Hold on. This is the kickoff to the great QBO refresh, our new. That was the YouTube video. All right. And where was I? Dun, dun, dun. Okay. So this is the brand new QuickBooks interface, which is being released right now. So yours may not look like this yet, but it will within a month or so. And so it has a whole dashboard so that you can see all kinds of stats and keep an eye on what's happening inside your company, what's happening with my profit and loss, what's happening with my expenses, what's happening with my cash flow. Let's compare my money in and money out every month to see which months I'm making money and which months I'm losing money. You can keep track of your invoices, your accounts receivable. You see how there's so many different charts here that allow you to really get a feel for what's happening inside your company. And it's all interactive. If you're looking at any one of these slices, oh, hang on a second. Thank you for letting me know you can't see my screen. I am going to do a new share. Okay, I'm actually going to back up a little bit. Thank you for letting me know, Michelle. Okay, so take two. So what I'm looking at here is a real QuickBooks Online file, and it's in the new layout. And that's what we're making a shift from the old style to the new style. So you might not see this yet, but you will be seeing it shortly. And this dashboard lets you see where your invoices are in the process, how many are not paid, how many were just paid, how many have been deposited. Then you have this whole entire dashboard showing you everything about your screen or not screen, about your company and what's happening. I can see when I'm making money. I can see months when I'm losing money. I can look at my cash balance to see when I'm going to run out of money. And all of these are interactive. So if I want to see, for instance, what are all these invoices that are more than 6 months old, I can go in and click on a report and go see that report about it. Or some of them are actually interactive and I can go see what these expenses are. And so it makes it really easy to work with your company and get a feel for what's happening inside your company. Now, specifically to the sales workflows is this button right here for sales and get paid. So this takes you to the sales center. And notice on the left-hand side that I have all of these different things that I can do about my sales. There's an overview screen that is showing you information about your sales. You've got action buttons here so that you can create invoices, payment links, all kinds of activities. The sales transactions shows you what's actually happening inside your sales so that I can see if I have estimates open and unbilled income and how many invoices are overdue and how many are open. And each of these acts as a filter so that I can look at just the transactions that I want to look at and see. Then you can get into just looking at invoices. You can look at, there's a feature called payment links. Payment links are super cool where you can just send a hyperlink out to a customer over text and they can click that link in order to pay their invoice. You can even make QR codes and put them on a piece of paper and people can scan QR codes in order to pay you as well. There's recurring payments where you can set it up so every month it's going to run an invoice and then the customer approves the payment once and then it will automatically pay the invoices for you. So it makes it really easy if you have recurring recurring transactions every single month. If you are working with e-commerce, there are also sales channels. So there's connections to eBay and Amazon and Shopify and Etsy. You can, if you are running those, you also can have sales orders, which allow you to keep track of orders that are pending. I mentioned before the QuickBooks payouts. So if you have QuickBooks payments, you can keep track of who's paying you and when and what your fees are. And there's also a robust products and services list where you can keep track of all of the products that you buy and sell. There's also a customers hub where not only can you keep track of your customers and all of the customers that are in your entire center. This is actually a brand new button. Customers with unpaid invoices is a filter to just show people who owe you money. So that button actually just showed up literally today. And there's even a section here for leads and reviews. So you can connect it to your Gmail, and it will look for people who are asking you to hire you. And you can also keep track of leads here as well and what stage they're in. Are they in discovery? Are they in inquiry? Are they in negotiation? You also can manage reviews as well, that you can solicit reviews once you send a customer an invoice and they pay it. It will say, well, do you want to rate them? And it will ask for ratings and feedback. And then that helps you because now you can gather feedback that you can then put out on the socials. So it's really, really nice. I want to so these are all the different features inside the sales area. I'm not going to show you, I'll run one process just so you can see the process, but I have a boot camp class coming up next week, but it's also available on demand. And in that class, we actually teach you to use all of these different features. So now on this one, I'm just showing you that they're here. Next week, we actually show you how to use them. But just walking through the process, I go to the plus create button and I can create an invoice. And drink some water while it's popping up. All right, you can fully customize the fields that show up on your invoice. You can specify what payment methods you want them to pay by, credit card or bank transaction or I'm sorry, bank transfer or PayPal. So you can turn on different ways that they can pay you. They can collect tips on here as well and manage deposits. But basically what you do is you come in and pick the customer and then what it is that you're actually doing for them. And so you pick it off of your list and you can assign classes to it. So I'll assign this one to QuickBooks. And then you can send it to them. And when you review and send, it will send it to them. You can control what you want it to look like and what you can put in the body if you want to talk to them about it. You can text them as well using this up at the top and give it permission. I'm going to turn that off right now. And then once they receive this invoice, it will have a pay button on it, and then they can go ahead and just pay it electronically right through the interface. If I was going to do this manually, just to show you how it works, I would receive payment, and then you can put in how they actually paid you. So this person paid me by American Express. You can actually process the payment yourself if you have their information, but make sure you're being PCI compliant and you didn't write down that number anywhere. Or I can just record that they made the payment. I'll deposit it to my undeposited funds account. All deposits should go to undeposited funds. You can see here that I can pay one invoice in full. I could also take partial payments. I can, even if they have multiple invoices, I can take the payment against all of the invoices. And then that keeps track. Now I just ran it so that it brought up just one payment against that invoice, and then that will still show me that there's a balance due. So you can see that you have a complete method of keeping track of how much somebody owes. So that is how to do some just basic income transactions. Okay. Then the next option is, or the next set of features would be your expense transactions. And these kind of work the same way in that when you have one-off expenses, you can just write a paper check. You can pay using your credit card. Both of those methods typically just show up in your banking feed so that you can categorize them. Or if it's checks, you can print checks right through your QuickBooks Online. But there is also now an online bill pay. So you can create a bill and then pay it electronically, which will send a check or send an ACH payment directly to the vendor so that you don't have to go to your bank's website and do the work and then do it again in QuickBooks, or go through the hassle of printing your checks and signing them and putting them in envelopes and putting them on stamps and taking them to the post office. So you can definitely speed up your bill pay. And like I said, maybe you do have a more complex cycle. Maybe you order products and you put in a purchase order, and then when the products arrive, you turn it into a bill. And then when it's time to pay the bill, you can make the payments. And just like with invoices, you can have one bill and make several payments to pay down the bill, or you can just pay the bill. Or you can have several bills rack up that you pay all at once. So bills and bill payments are a one-to-many relationship. So again, real briefly, I just want to show you the expenses center to see all of the possible things that you can do. And again, I teach this in my boot camp class, which is coming up, or available in my library. So in the expenses center, you start with an overview screen. And so this will give you the same funnel showing you what stage your bills are in. You get a list of all of your expense transactions, and this is just chronological. And this doesn't care whether it's an expense or a bill or a payment or a credit card. They're all just listed here in chronological order. And you can even see what category it was put to. And that way, if it wasn't right, you can change it as well. And you can always go and view and edit those expenses. And here's where you can attach receipts as well. The vendor center allows you to track everything by the person who you are doing the business with. So here there's a filter and I can see that I have one open unpaid bill right here that I can then go and pay. There's a bills center to show you all of your bills, and I can see transactions that are for review if I've been importing receipts. I can see bills that are unpaid and bills that have been paid. This is a sample file, so there's not a whole lot of data here. There's even an area where you can do your bill payments, and that allows you to, like I said, pay your bills electronically and send them a paper check. There's the mileage center right here. There's also a contractor center. If you have independent contractors who you are doing business with and you need to pay, maybe you need to manage their 1099s, there's a whole center here for managing all of your 1099 contractors. And then there's a 1099s center as well. So you can see here that they really give you a robust way of managing all of your outgoing money by who you're paying and what you're paying. And then you can even send your 1099s through the system. So those are just some of the ways that you can manage your expenses. I didn't even show you that there's a whole receipts center here where you can put in your receipts and use OCR, optical character recognition, to turn your receipts into bills and expenses. And there's a bank transactions feed where it shows you all the transactions that have cleared a particular bank account so that you can match them to your existing work, or you can use this as data entry. So QBO really makes it easy to manage your day-to-day expenses. Okay. Then the magic is in running your reports. You have a vast reports center where you can slice and dice your numbers in any kinds of ways. Profit and loss statements, balance sheets, sales reports, expense reports. The idea with running your reports is two categories. One is so that you know what is the right amount of taxes to pay, but then there's also understanding your business activity so that you can make good decisions about your finances. So there's a whole report center here with standard reports, custom reports that you create yourself that give you exactly what you need to see. There's a performance center. There's even a cash flow planner. But just very simply looking at the standard reports, all of these reports are here so that you can slice and dice your numbers and learn who are your best customers so that you can get more customers like that and grow your business. Which of your products are your best sellers so that you can sell more of those so that you can make more money. And so I am a big fan of really learning how to do your reports well so that you can use it for business analysis. The bottom line is that it's for taxes so that you know what money you're paying taxes on, but there's so much more about it. Now, that's a lot. So I'm going to take a deep breath and kind of move into showing you what's available and what's next. So I have barely scratched the surface on what QuickBooks Online can do, and I haven't really talked at all about how to use it. And so, if you'll permit me for a few minutes, I want to talk about the different ways that you can, different resources for you as well. Now, the first thing that I want people to know is where do you go from here? If you are a bookkeeper, then the first thing that you should do is start up your own QuickBooks Online for accountants, which is free to bookkeepers. And that actually gives you your own My Books inside QBO so that you can do your own bookkeeping in there. Because what better way of learning how to use QuickBooks Online than to actually use it yourself? So this gives you a free account. It's QuickBooks Online Advanced, including payroll, so that you can learn how the payroll module works as well. Then you have your clients invite you in their QBO using an accountant user, and they'll show up in this portal, and then you can switch between your clients right inside the portal. So if you have a client if you're just now moving into QuickBooks Online, I would start with somebody who's pretty simple and straightforward and migrate them first. You'll migrate them from desktop to online, and then you'll be able to access their books from inside your portal. Or you can wait until you get a new client and they're already using QBO, in which case they can just invite you as an accountant user and you can add them in and then see all your clients all in one place. Continuing to speak to the bookkeepers who are watching. There's tools for managing your QuickBooks Online for Accountants firm in there. And so you can add team members and assign different clients to team members. There's task lists so that you can assign tasks to different people so they always know what they're supposed to be working on. It's secure. It can only see clients that you assign to them. So if you don't assign them the client, they can't see anything. And there's an audit log so that you can see who did what, so that if you have any course corrections to do, you know exactly what's going on. There's also the option of getting certified inside the ProAdvisor portal. Inside the QBOA portal, you'll see ProAdvisor on the left-hand side, and that will take you to the training center. And inside the training center, there's a ton of free options for learning how to use QuickBooks Online. And there's certifications as well. There's a level 1 and a level 2 certification. There's a payroll certification. There's also courses on like the bank feeds and different things as well. And then once you're certified, once you pass the level 1 certification, you can take the level 2 certification. And then at the end after you've passed your certifications, every spring between April and June, there's a recertification where you just focus on what's new. And you do get CPE credit for training. Okay, but all of that is just for pro advisors, and it's all kind of surface level training. This is where RoyalWise comes in. My foundation class, that is the class that literally everybody should take in order to really get grounded in what QBO is and how it works, is my boot camp class. I do it maybe once a year, maybe twice. The next upcoming one is September 16th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. And we go through literally one of every kind of transaction. The way I showed you how to do an invoice, it's like that, but we do literally everything. It's great for beginners. It's great for business owners. And if you're an expert, you're going to also gain a lot of my best practices and expert tips and tricks. So this is a class for bookkeepers. It's a class for business owners. If you're watching this right now, share it with your clients so that we can all come in and learn how to use QBO. So it's a 7-hour class. Again, if you're watching this after September 16th, you can just go to our portal and take the class with all of the recordings. So let's go ahead and kind of wrap this up a little bit. And so if you are watching this class, please do leave a review either in the, if you're watching it on the Owls, leave a review. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and give us some comments and subscribe to our channel. Everything that we do is watch later. So you can, if you can't make a class on a day that we're giving that class, sign up anyway. You're going to get the recording and have lifetime access to it. And it's all broken up into little pieces so you can go exactly to the section that you need to go to. We also have a wisdom quest. We give you points for every video that you watch, so you get those little endorphin sparks going as you learn, and then you get prizes as well, ranging from eyeglass claws and swag to books to t-shirts and appointments with me. All of our content is evergreen, which means that as QBO changes, we will give you the fresh content as well. And so your evergreen courses will always be up to date in the current interface. We call ourselves the RoyalWise Owls, which stands for On-Demand Web-Based Learning Solutions. And we have this entire training program starting with this basic class that you're watching right now. And then we just get more advanced and more advanced and more advanced. We have over 70 different classes. And so you can take just the class on sales tax, so you can take just the class on payroll, or you can go through our entire process and become a member, which I'll talk about in a moment. Everything is CPE based. We are NASBA authorized, and so when you take our quizzes, you can get your CPE certificates. Something new, we also now are translating all of our class recordings into Spanish. So when you take them through our portal, you have the English at top and Spanish at the bottom. So if you speak Spanish, you can listen in your native language. And if you have Spanish-speaking clients, you can refer them to us because we speak their language. All right. Our upcoming classes. This is the beginner's guide right here on top. The boot camp is next week, which is an all-day class. Then we go into setting up QuickBooks Online, how to manage and read the chart of accounts. Then we do a whole 3 hours on the banking feed. We do a class on reconciling, which isn't just how to reconcile, but it's also how to troubleshoot your reconciliations when there's transactions there that you don't know what they're for, why they're there, how to fix them. Then in November, we go into product services and inventory and QuickBooks Payments Merchant Services, and we'll finish off the year in December with reports. If you're looking at all those classes going, ooh, I want that one, and I want that one, and I want that one, and I want that one, please do consider becoming a member of the RoyalWise Owls at learn.royalwise.com. When you become a member, you get automatic enrollment into all of these classes so that you don't need to register for them individually. And we have 2 members meetings every single month where it's an Ask an Alicia. You bring your questions to me and I answer your questions. And then there's also a coaching membership, which adds, in addition to all of that, an hour with me every single month so that we can look at your books together. And then we collect recordings of all of your sessions into your own customized class. If you want to share all of this with anyone, then we do have an affiliate program and you can get 10% for referring people to us. You can listen to me every single week on the unofficial QuickBooks Accountants podcast that you can find on your favorite podcasting app and all QuickBooks all the time. We have a YouTube channel. Some of you are watching on that YouTube channel right now, where we slice and dice our classes into little bits and pieces so that you can find little nuggets that are just the answers that you need. We also write textbooks for Questiva consultants, and those are hands-on, click-by-click and step-by-step training. We also have our books on Amazon as well. So if you go to Amazon and you search for Alicia Katz Pollock, you'll see all of my different titles. And sometimes it just feels really good to have a book in your hand. And we are hoping to release this new book soon. That's a hands-on training in the new interface, step by step and click by click. So this book is available on pre-sale for Kindle on Amazon. All right. So let me know how I can help you with your QuickBooks. For those of you who are here, we're going to do a live drawing right now. And so we have some door prizes. The first one is a copy, your choice, of my QuickBooks Online from Setup to Tax Time book. This is the one that goes with the boot camp class that we're, so this is like a boot camp in a book, or a book for converting from QuickBooks Desktop to QuickBooks Online. The second drawing is for an eyeglass cloth. So we'll send this out in the mail to you. And then the third is picked from the random bag of corporate swag. And we have today a mouse pad from a company called RoboDebit. So we will send you a mouse pad. So let's see who our winners are today. So the first person this is for the books. The book is going to go to Danny Prince. So Danny, if you would head over to the webinar chat and change it to from everyone to hosts and panelists, and then give us your address, and then let me know, do you want the QuickBooks Online from Setup to Tax Time, the blue book, or the converting from QuickBooks Online to desktop or desktop to online, the red book? So Danny, let us know which book you want and get your address in there. Okay, the eyeglass cloth is going to go to Lisa Stafford. You are the winner of the eyeglass cloth. So Lisa, put your address in the webinar chat under hosts and panelists. And then the RoboDebit mouse pad goes to Robin Talbot. You are the winner of the mouse pad. Okay, so Robin, go ahead and put your address in the webinar chat, and we will get that sent out to you. Okay. Oh, wait, I forgot one more thing. For everybody, you're all winners. There's also a coupon code on the screen. Let's do this 37, and you can take $37 off any course or subscription. So this is a good time to get in. All right. So congratulations to all of our winners. And thank you all for being here. Thanks for taking this tour in the Beginner's Guide to QuickBooks Online. I hope that it inspires you to figure out if QuickBooks Online is right for you. And if I can help you learn how to use it properly, that's why I am here. So thank you all for coming, and I will see you in the next class.